Chivalry, dates, and gifts. What are we talking about tonight? We'll have to wait and see.
All right, everybody, this is SafeWord, your platform for teaching, learning, and opening the eyes of our audience to the world of kink, BDSM, and relationships. All right, I am your host, Kane Marcos.
And I am your other host, Aurora Storm.
And I am your co-host, Callista Fury.
And I'm your co-host, Knight Wagner.
So what are we talking about today? Courting, okay? Courting. If you want to hear more about it, I guess you got to stay tuned and stick it out.
Cable cord or?
But first, you got to like and subscribe for more content on kink, BDSM, and relationships.
One of these days, I'm going to get him on. We'll get Knight together. Okay, so what you watch? You watching SafeWord. And here on SafeWord, we use the SafeWord of the day to stop, halt, and completely pause all topics of conversation. So, yes. Like that. Yeah, okay, yes. I thought you were saying time out.
Demonstrating.
Wait, what?
That's how it works. It's good. It's good.
Right. It does. It works. See, it works. See, that's why we have a safe word. I'm saying there's a perfect example of why it works. Remember, the safe word today is feather.
I think this is one of Kane's made-up word.
Feather.
You say it very British.
Say that 3 times fast while you're trying to get people to shut up.
Sorry, I was reading Shakespeare before I wrote this script. My bad.
No, we love it. Love the safe word of the day. Feather is the safe word of the day. But first and foremost, we need to say hello to our A1 since day one. He watches all of our lives. So, Cat's Crew, can we say hello to our fan favorite? Roy?
Hello, Roy.
Hey, Roy.
Hello.
So if you want your shout out, or at least, the Safe Word crew to say hey to you, then you know what to do. Exactly what Calista told you to do. Okay, good. At least we got that clear. All right. So Mr. K. Marcos, do we have gang news?
Yes, we do. I've only got one thing to bring tonight, and I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about it for a bit. So, I know a lot of you guys are avid golf fans. You keep up on all of the tours, invitationals, and the Masters, all that stuff. I know Knight's got his fantasy ranking going right now. But for those of you who aren't, as avid golf fans, there's still some stuff for you guys. All right. Tiger Woods recently was participating in the Genesis Invitational. He was golfing against Justin Thomas, who's another famous golfer. I know all of you guys only know about 1 or 2 golfers. One, probably.
Justin Tiger Woods, y'all. That's all I got.
I'm back in the Nicholson days. Thank you very much.
Damn, see, that's further back than I go. All right. So I'm not a big fan of golf. I don't golf myself. I'm terrible at it. The closest you'll ever see me is I'll go to a Topgolf and drunkenly hit balls into probably the closest down part of the park that you could imagine. But so there's this thing among golfers where there's a lot of inside jokes, pranks, things that they do to kind of, jest at each other. And Tiger Woods participated in one of these things, and now he's catching a lot of heat for it. So basically the gist of it is they were at the 9th hole together. Justin Thomas went out, hit his ball. It went a certain number of yards. Exactly how many, I didn't bother to incorporate that in. But Tiger Woods outdrove him, hit the ball farther. And so he actually got him by about 50 yards. I think the statistic was about 53 yards farther. And so while they're walking up to their balls and everything, Tiger Woods goes and slips him a tampon and a handshake, and it got caught by the cameras. And so now that's, a sexist joke, and everybody's the media's blowing up, blowing it way out of proportions because they're saying that this type of stuff doesn't belong in sports, shouldn't have been televised, and shouldn't exist.
Oh dear Lord!
But I have to say, wasn't something that offended Tiger Woods or Justin Thomas. It was a joke among friends. It's popular among golfers. If you know a lot of golfers, a lot of them say, "Oh yeah, if you outdrive somebody by a bunch, it's just like, oh hey, you dropped this." It's kind of it's kind of a tease.
It's a tongue-in-cheek type of a thing. It's sportsmanship. It's what you do. I mean, football players do it. I mean, you talk shit. That's what you do.
Yeah, you got to get into the other player's head. You're competing.
Michael Jordan is famous for that, and everybody knows you don't piss off Michael Jordan because he turns his game up. You don't smack talk. You don't play. That's the thing. That's what you do.
Yep.
So
makes no sense. Every guy should have a bag of tampons to give to their friends when they're acting like babies.
And that's the problem is a bunch of feminists. And to be honest, I know feminists. I'm friends with a lot of feminists, and they don't hate me. They don't want me dead. They don't want to string me up, draw and quarter me, or, just man hate the shit out of me. They're actually very level-headed, intelligent individuals. And even they're confounded by who the hell was this offending? And it was like, I'm not offended by it. It's a joke amongst friends. I mean, it's kind of...
Well, you are friends with the wrong feminists.
Right. Or the right ones. But so what are you guys' opinions on this? I mean, it is just a friendly joke. It is popular among the golf community, but now it's getting, more notoriety than it ever has before because it was captured on television. ESPN has a fucking blown up image, like you could actually see the damn name brand that he's slipping him in a handshake. Like, I think he wouldn't have gotten as much trouble if it was a dime bag of weed. Like,
I think they're putting way too much emphasis and focus on the wrong thing. I mean, they're out there playing sports. I mean, you should be watching it for your love of golf, if that's what you love, you know what I'm saying? Or the love of sportsmanship. Fine, good, great. But for a photographer to go in and zoom in on the name brand to try and make something out of it because so many people are complaining about this, that, the other, and blah, 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 blah. Like, everybody's got a complaint right now. Everybody's got a complaint. Like, and it's just, golf seemed to be one of the sports that was kind of untouched by that. And now they're like, let's loop in golf too.
Like I was saying, if any sport needs a little bit of spice, golf is
it.
Yeah.
I mean, just because you're offended doesn't make you right.
Right.
People just need to put their big
Amen.
boy and girl panties up and just. I mean, if you're offended by a picture of tampons, then you have bigger problems and you should really focus on those.
Well, and so I'm happy that you said that because, and here's the other piece of this where it's just going to blow your guys' minds. Charles Barkley, basketball player, he goes on Twitter and starts saying, "Oh, well, this is appalling. It's just despicable. This sort of thing shouldn't exist."
Barkley?
When damn well, back in the 90s when he was on the court, there was some shit going around. I mean, they probably stuffed one of their, teammates' locker full of something, as kind of a joke, as kind of a jest, teasing somebody. So, I mean, then you have all of these people trying to jump on the right side of the bandwagon. And I think it just makes them look even more foolish. Like, one, like you guys already said, it's focusing attention on the wrong damn thing. And then when you start bringing in other celebrities who aren't even necessarily names in that particular sport. I mean, if Charles Barkley was a top golfer from the 90s, then okay, like maybe not to say that his opinion didn't have credibility, but maybe it's a little bit more credible because, you're speaking from experience within these professional golf tournaments. But I mean,
or maybe don't be Charles Barkley, who's known for talking nonsense and saying controversial things.
Yeah, I mean, they shouldn't have gone to him first of all, and he's straight up lying because you don't step onto a basketball court without talking shit first. That's first rule of basketball. I used to play. You don't step on that court. You don't put a ball in your hand unless you talking shit first.
What was the name of the football player that used to get on the line and be like, "I'm going to eat your children"?
Right.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes, exactly.
Why are we
Exactly.
dragging that dude through the dirt right now? Like, yo,
Well, really, the point is it happens across professions in professional sports, in your home office. I mean, we all like to play a little, grab ass every now and again when it comes to kind of getting everybody going. You know what I mean?
You do
It
that
makes it
now. That's
Friendly
harassment.
competition.
That's a, let me ask a valid and very important question, right? So what is the real issue here? Is it because Tiger Woods is saying, okay, I outdrove you, so you're as strong as a woman. I'm calling you a girl, and that's offensive because women can hit the ball as far as Tiger Woods? Maybe on his bad day, but is
Well,
it bad?
I know that there's a lot of women that would be offended just because something so private and intimate was shown in a large scale to another man as a joke, and it's our private, intimate thing. And I'm gonna let you speak in a minute, just because, like, I've known people that have gotten fired for similar types of things, and it's just because the tampon is in the vicinity, it causes sexual harassment within the workplace. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I'll
Go
let the
ahead.
Marine. I'll let
pervert.
the
He's like
former Marine. I'll let
slowly.
the Marine. You're never a former Marine. I'll let the Marine
Pervert.
handle this one,
Pervert.
please.
I have
Please.
seen on daytime television tampon commercials. Y'all are that shit is not as private as you guys
Please.
think it is. You guys
No,
are
it's
not
not.
as
No.
ashamed of it as you
Please.
guys say you are. I mean, you guys want this to be, and I'm not saying you guys is like derogatorily or anything, but I'm just saying the powers that be want
People that have
tampons to
problems with
be
it.
in the mainstream. They want tampons to be not such a taboo. They want a woman's period to be more less looked down upon. And so I mean,
Right.
like, there's all these different products that are coming out now. And one of the biggest things I remember back in the early 2000s was tampons were a man's invention. Tampons were made, patented, and invented by a
Yeah.
man. So pads have always been a better way to go. And now they have like period panties, which are like disposable, washable, all this other stuff.
Washable,
there's
washable. Well, and
all
see,
these
and that's the
different
thing
products.
where that's the thing where I'm like, I don't get women that get upset like that, because have you seen the tampon and pad commercials? I mean, just now they've out doing it with the freaking blue dye. They're doing it with red dye. They're overpacking these things. They're squeezing them out. I'm like, I didn't even do that on my period. Like, why would I need to see how it squeezes?
So to answer the question, where I don't remember who asked it, but they said, what's the real problem with this? I think the real problem is that it was an exchange between one man to another. I think that is the dyed in the wool issue here, is that it was a man that did it, which, history as a guide, you don't solve a problem by going in the opposite direction. We really ought to come together and communicate on this and figure out how to best move forward, rather than this radical idea of, hey, you guys used to feel this way about it, so now it's appropriate to feel the complete opposite about it, and everybody has to figure out how to make that work.
Women, you can no longer slap a teammate on the ass and say good game. That's for men only. Sorry, can't do it. I'm offended. Can't do it. GG's, can't do it.
But see, now here's the thing, though, is that I know that there's a lot of women that would get mad. It's not just because it's a man. There's a lot of women that would get mad. And like I said, it's that uncomfortable. I'm not comfortable with my body and what it does, I guess, apparently. If a woman did it to him as well, because I've joked about that with a girlfriend and it turned into a sideways argument. And I was just like, whoa, like, you have a period, I have a period. Like, what?
Right? These kinds of things need to be normalized. And that's kind of the point of this show, is to be able to openly talk about it, about things that happen. It's a natural bodily function. It needs to be able to be normalized to sit here and talk about periods, tampons, and all kinds of other stuff that are uncomfortable.
Nothing secretive anymore. This isn't the 1950s where you show an ankle and a guy goes, "Oh my God, I saw her ankle." No, we've got all sorts of stuff happening on commercials. AIDS medication. Have you seen those commercials? Like, how are you going to get offended over something that is needed?
In the store, you gotta. Sometimes
you can't get around it, women. I'm sorry. Once you get to a certain age, you can't get around it.
I got a question.
You're sometimes you're the unfortunate kid who's got to go to the store and pick up a pack for the women in your life. Here's $10. Go to the store and get me the ones with wings. Like, Mom, do I have to? Like, nowadays, come on, like, what's the big deal?
It's nothing to be embarrassed about.
They teach you in case of, for example, some puncture wounds, maybe some bullet holes, absent any first aid equipment. Guess
Bloody
what?
nose.
Yeah.
Bloody nose.
That saves your life.
Absolutely.
So,
I got a question, and I'm honestly asking just because I don't understand it, and I'm really trying to comprehend this, and maybe it would help the world if this information got out there. But I mean, is it like winning the lottery when you bitch about something and it gets this much notoriety? Like, was the first person who complained about it now rolling in millions because they found
the
something?
first person that complained about it was the person that sat there and sued McDonald's because there was no warning that his coffee was going to be hot.
Yeah, but he sued.
her.
But he sued.
Her.
Yeah, her. Sorry, her.
Okay, but she sued. Okay, they brought a government agency into it, and they did an investigation. It went to court. It went to appeals, and then, you know, like, it went through a due process. And now I feel like nowadays with cancel culture and everything the way it is, who stands to benefit from, I mean, taking away a man's livelihood? Because that's really essentially all you're doing. Is what's going to happen is he's going to go on an apology tour. He's not going to be able to compete in his sport for a long period of time. He won't make any money. And it's not like they're not going to sell tickets to these golf games because they're notoriously filled and always sold out. So, I mean,
I have a prediction. It'll be the opposite. I think the tide is turning. We've just seen this happen with people trying to boycott a particular game. And I think people are now tired of it and will, out of spite, do the exact opposite. Because now,
let's hope that's the case, but everybody seems to just be laying down and taking complaints and going, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Sometimes you just don't need to be sorry. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, there's just way too many apology tours going around to a point where sorry doesn't even have the same meaning anymore.
No.
They're just gonna apologize. Really do what I'm gonna do, and now ask for forgiveness later. And I don't even know that I did something wrong because, gosh darn it, that person over there has a problem. So does this one, and that one over there. But that one thought it was cool. Like, it's ridiculous. You can't make everybody happy.
No, the media plays a huge factor in this when it comes to podcasting and, you know, really dividing, you know, what's good and bad. Why are they the ones to choose what's good and bad? And I mean, that's just... Well,
and how are they speaking for the masses where it's like, oh, this is offensive and everyone should feel offended by this? Like, I wasn't. I know a lot of people. I talk to you guys. None of you guys are offended. I have a hard time finding people who agree with what's put out in the mainstream media.
Right, where everybody's offended, everyone's upset, everyone's this, everyone's that. No, I'm not, like, so a lot of those stories I watch and I'm like, well, why are people, this is a court case? You're taking this to court. This is called life, people. Life is hard. Things don't go the way you want them to. It's called adversity. You change with it. You can't complain about it because ain't shit gonna get done. We just gonna sit around and complain about each other. Like, what? It doesn't make any sense. It's just, everyone's just complaining now. It's like whatever they can find to complain about. But let's just throw it all in the bucket. Let's get it all done at once.
All right, so that's all that I had for Hot Topics. I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention, get your guys' opinions on the fuckery that's happening within the world.
With our society.
At least nobody died in this fuckery.
Right. At least we were not morbid Marcos tonight. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Well, and see, that's a perfect segue because we are talking about, you know, the fact that everybody has a complaint, right? And things just aren't as they should be or the way they used to be, right? So our thing that we're talking about tonight is courting, right? Courting is kind of like an old school, it's like an old school term, you know.
What that is? What are you talking about?
Would that be? That be, you know, like when a guy or a girl, you know, in this day and age, we'll use something from early 2000s. When you cupcake in that person.
When you make cupcakes?
Take it a little bit further and make it a little bit more so everyone can understand. Okay. So when you're pursuing someone, but you pursue them, you know, with nice gestures and the things that they like, and you're not necessarily, you shouldn't necessarily be going for the goal. You know what I'm saying? But that's my piece on it. So I'm going to kick this to my crew and ask them, you know, I kind of gave you a little rundown, old school word, but what is courting? And we already know that Mr. K. Marcos, our philosopher, is going to give us a nice healthy, digestive, adjective, verb from the dictionary. So we're going to go ahead and kick it to Callista and ask her, what is courting?
I mean, to me, courting would just be dating and getting to be familiar with each other and see if you could even, move forward and see if to somebody you can grow with. Courting is just really getting to know each other. It's that very fun beginning parts of dating.
Okay.
And just, going out to the movies or buying little things. It's
That's
the
fun.
fun part of dating.
It's the fun part. Yeah. Okay. So, Mr.
Part.
Knight, we're going to kick it to you because I know that, Mr. Kate is going to give us the definition.
What a word. So courting is the traditional recognition of
oh gosh, Knight's gonna give us the definition.
Yeah, what kind of mistake did you make?
That's not
the rituals and socially accepted maneuvers needed to indicate the interest of one's desire to have intimate relations for the purpose of procreation.
Okay. And I'm going to stop you right there. Perfect. Now, Kane, would you like to give us the definition in English, please? For the viewing audience.
So the modern definition is just
yes,
the modern audience. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's just paying special attention to someone in an attempt to win their support or their favor. Back in the day, it was, to try and romantically involve yourself with a person with the intention of marrying them. But I mean, nobody really jumps into a relationship looking for the long haul nowadays. So just like Callista said, it's really just the initial steps of dating where it's like, hey, where do you want to go? What do you like to do? Getting to know one another, seeing if you're opposites that attract, or, just if you guys have stuff in common, things that align, deal breakers, find out if they have a fucking cat if you're allergic. That time period.
Cats.
A cat.
All right. With that being said, what does courting look like to you guys? I mean, I know that we've said what it is and when it takes place, but specifically, what does courting look like, or what have you experienced? Night.
Experience?
Experience.
Experience?
I wish it could be courted. In fact, I was, to be honest. There was a situation in tech school, in the military.
Okay.
There was a particular airman that had taken a liking to me. And normally it'd be the other way around. The guy's supposed to pursue. She pursued me. So when I was in the dorms, she'd go up and the RA, the equivalent of the RA. Hey, I'm here. Tell Knight to come down. And I have to pretend I'm not there. She would bring me little gifts, things of that nature. So it was a really interesting, weird dynamic because she was going out of her way to show her interest. And that helped a little bit.
Trevor, real quick. I find that fascinating that turned you off in a way. Because
no, that part didn't turn me off. There were other parts that turned me off. That actually helped.
Okay.
Like her face,
because we all know that you tend to be a little bit lazy when it comes to putting in effort. So for them to pursue you, I thought would be more absolutely an attractive trait.
Absolutely. But you have to consider, why is she doing the pursuing?
She wanted some.
Maybe she wanted the D.
Yeah.
She wanted to find out what that D do.
Let's say if there were other factors involved, it wouldn't be so difficult to achieve.
All right, so I know where Knight's getting at, and I have a similar.
Explain it, because I don't.
I have a similar experience. When I was in high school, my sophomore year, there was a freshman girl she saw me pass by one time. She became infatuated with me, and I did not think she was attractive whatsoever. She was at that age where it was like, she wasn't a cute kid and she wasn't an attractive woman yet. She was, she was in the cocoon phase, right? But at the time, I didn't realize that, and I didn't. And, just being a horny young teen, it was like, oh, it's not what I'm looking for right now. I'm writing it off. Fast forward a couple years, went to a water park in California, and I see this chick from behind, and oh my God, she's got this amazing body, just a great figure, wearing a 2-piece bikini, flip flops, everything's working for her. She turns around, heavenly bust, ample bosoms, and again, 2-piece, very revealing, and she's rocking it. She's working it, and she looks familiar. Be damned if it wasn't the same chick that I had rejected in high school. And so she saw me and she was like, do I know you? And I was like, I think we went to high school together. And she was like, oh yeah. And so she got all excited. I got excited because I thought like, okay, hey. And my dumb, still, 20-year-old mind, I'm thinking like, hey, now you have a shot. And needless to say, she put me in my place hard. The rejection wasn't necessarily, a production, but just I remember, no thank you, was all that was needed to be like, oh yeah, I earned that one. I deserved it. And I credit her to this day. And still, to my detriment, I don't remember her name. But she definitely blossomed. She was a beautiful butterfly, and she remembered. She had a memory like a steel trap. And
this is why I give everybody a chance.
That was a
Knight is an equal opportunist.
Mind-opening experience.
Oh my gosh. A great story, but what does courting look like to you?
My bad, we went off the tangent on that, but
what did she do? What did she do to show her interest?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was high school. So, I mean, it was that, chasing around and, like following me like a lost puppy. And then her friends came up and said, hey, are you seeing anybody? My friend likes you. And at that time, it was like, well, you're kind of showing me a lack of confidence as well. Like, if she liked me, I would have been more impressed if she came up and said hello or hey, instead of snickering in the corner like, oh my gosh, what's he going to say? So, I mean, that was kind of, I don't know. For me, it was just kind of like the maturity level wasn't there. So that was my initial, turn off. But yeah, right. Like I said, followed me, talked to me, tried to be near, around while not being, included. So little things like that.
Adults do the same thing still.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I actually have been courted. Been courted on a number of occasions. And like that old school courting too, like where, I'm not going to kiss you on the first date. I'm going to wait to hold your hand. I'm going to pay attention really closely to everything that you say that you like, and I'm going to get it for you. And, that kind of thing. Like, so like courting, there's different levels to it, right? They can be that fun, like, let's, get to know each other. But then there's a level to courting that I believe that like, Knight kind of touched on and Kane kind of touched on a little bit, where they're following you around, they're doing for you, they're really trying to get your attention. And so there's a little bit more to courting with that. Cause I can tell you that like one of the dudes that courted me, I wasn't even like aware, like just, and because he kept doing it, and I was like, oh, he's like trying to talk to me and stuff. Just friends, okay. Well, I just thought you were really nice. So I mean, there are levels to courting. I mean, I could tell you some stories. I've had some courting happen now, like helicopter rides and all that kind of stuff. But back when I was a young.
That's an interesting point, because you're saying like the modern day representation of courting seems to be very homogenized, mixed together with dating. Right. So somebody's gonna buy you fancy jewelry, take you on fancy trips, right? That's a version of courting. They're trying to impress you for a reason, right? Right. But in the old days, they were trying to impress you, let's say, with their behavior. Mm-hmm. So is courting itself the behavior part? Is that an old thing, and the new thing is now more materialistic? Like what is courting? Is that like ancient?
I personally don't think anybody really understands what courting looks like nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like before, it was literally the pursuit of a woman. Like, let's take it back to, horse-drawn carriage rides, and we didn't have cars. You know what I'm saying? Like it was you were pursuing a woman. You were showing her what you had to give her, the life you could give her and she could obtain with you, so that she had an interest in you. And I think now it's lost a lot of that luster, especially with like the red pill and stuff. You know, the guys, girls, we just don't really do it. And so courting now is kind of seen as like kind of what Callista was explaining. You know, we go out, we learn about each other. It's equal opportunity, blah, blah, blah. But there are still some women and men that like those things, you know, that old fashioned, that old practice. And so, yeah, I think that it's an old word that people don't understand the actual definition for and what it looks like.
And I
That's my
think we
personal
should
opinion.
possibly even take some of the old practices and put those into play now, such as what you had said, bringing up the behavior aspect of it. Because, and don't get me wrong, each woman is different. Some women will like, or men, you know, for that matter, will like the shiny, bright things. Look, my honey just got me a new pair of earrings and a diamond bracelet. Whereas like someone myself, I want you to, you know, to show me what kind of person you are.
Yes.
Sure, you know, yeah, I like shiny things, but I want to get to know you, not your wallet. And I think those practices need to be more brought back.
Well,
Dating and courting should be fun.
Yeah, it really should. It should.
I think part of the problem that we have now with relationships is a lot of behavior has been weeded out. So when they say, "Oh, I want a high quality or a high value individual," someone with 6 figures, what are they really saying? They are they saying, "Hey, I want someone that I know can provide for me," or "Hey, I just want somebody to buy me a TV every other week." So why do you need a 6-figure person? So I think the practice of showing, "Hey, I can be supportive. I can be a dad," for example. I know how to be a father, you know, like I know how to be responsible. So I think that kind of practice, I know how to treat you in public. I know how to treat you in private. That should be brought back. And I think we're losing that, especially nowadays.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So now you're saying that we really do, that we've lost it, and this should be something that we're practicing. Why do you think that? Why is that?